Of course, I had to start this episode with just some gratitude, some of my love before we start talking about love. And man, do I want to start like that? Welcome everybody back to the Rally Cry podcast. I am your host, Angel, and I am so happy that you are here. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even if you're watching on YouTube, and of course, it's the month of love. I love love. I don't know if you love love, and I just want to also let you guys know how much I appreciate the support and everything that has just been coming full circle, right? And since it is the month of love, this is just after Valentine's Day. Of course, I want to talk about what is love, right? And I think what happens a lot, there's always a subjective view on what love is, right? But I just want to give a shout out. Hold up, matter of fact, that's there you go. Yeah. So I was thinking when I do these solo episodes, I want to give you guys a gem. And since it is a love month, right? It's February. We have Valentine's Day. You know, regardless if you have a significant other or not, if you're single, if you are in a relationship, or if you're in a position or relationship, however you want to say it, where you're just trying to let things go, then this is the episode for you. And this book right here, we're going to kind of use this reference, right? I'm not sponsored. I'm just saying, but I do say that Jay Shetty is someone that definitely has a profound view on what love is. And in this book, 8 Rules of Love, it's how to find it, keep it, and let it go. And of course, I put down some notes about what I think is the ways of how to find it, keep it, and let it go. And I think that's literally the 3 things that you need when it comes to love, right? We think about finding love from someone else, right? We think it should be an external thing. We think it's something that should be inviting, right? And with that aspect or that mindset about finding love, we're always going to be thinking that love should be this way. Or we think that love should be this big gesture to know that it is love, right? When it comes to finding love, we think about, oh, it should be this feeling or it should look a certain way. And then yet we're still confused on why we don't feel loved, why we don't feel enough. And when it came to me, right, finding myself and finding myself in ways where I can be loved, it was first recognizing it within myself. Recognizing that love isn't something that I get from the outside, but what I recognize on the inside. It's not necessarily about finding love, but recognizing it. And as you realize, that's the key word. Recognizing that this is something that I value, right? Because love is simply something that you feel, right? Love is something that makes you feel valued. Love is something that allows you to remind yourself of who you are, right? And with utmost content. I think when it comes to love, we think that, oh, it shouldn't make us feel down, right? The thing is that there's prerequisites that you need when it comes to love, right? And that comes with going back to yourself. As many times as I said it before, when it comes to love, you need to understand yourself before you get into a relationship. Because when you get into a relationship, you don't want to be in that position where you don't know yourself well enough and that the other person is trying so hard to find out who you are. Now, that's not their responsibility. The responsibility within yourself is to understand what is love for you so that you're able to be a guide for that other person. So it's so much more easier to love you because you know what it is that you need, right? And understand that love is not something that you need from someone else, right? Because you give it to yourself, right? And then you also give it to others. You're always able to experience love when you're understanding it within yourself and how well do you give it to someone else, right? We think that love is something that we should only be getting from the outside and know, oh, that's love. But love is something what you give, and understanding on what you give is also what you get is what works full circle, right? And I think there is so many ways that we think we should find love. And I would say one thing's for sure, you're not going to find love just anywhere, right? You're more than likely going to find that love or recognize, right? Because I like to say recognize more than find, because Someone could present to you, for example, $1,000, just someone you don't know, and you're gonna look at them like, are you serious? You're probably gonna think that that $1,000 is fake. Now, I don't want to use money as an example when it comes to love, but just understand the principle, understand the example, right? If someone was to present to you something that you value and you don't know them, you're gonna question them and or question the thing that they're presenting to you as if like, oh, this must be too good to be true, right? And it's the same thing with love. If we don't recognize love, we're gonna keep thinking that when someone presents us love, we're gonna think it's not real. Oh, it's too good to be true, or it's fake, right? So it's the fact that when you could recognize love within yourself, that's when you could be like, oh, this person that's presenting me this is love. This is their appreciation, right? And there's different ways to express love, right? When it comes to being in a relationship, is with the understanding that that other person needs to see how you love being loved, right? I think when it comes to it, we think that it should be a specific thing. It should be a certain gesture. It should be this big and broad thing that it's so profound that it's almost hard to miss. But sometimes love is a little bit easy to misinform because we don't understand it. Because we might not understand their gesture, right? And then it comes with background, that comes with experience, that comes with how does someone come with the approach, right? But the approach is not as important. It's just half of the importance of when it comes to love. But the understanding within yourself is the biggest part, right? That's your key foundation on how you find love. And honestly, when I was writing these things down, like I was kind of just going on a whole tangent, right? Because when it comes to love, love is one of those subjects that we are all trying to still figure out what is, right? We long for connection and we get into connection and then we end up being in a situationship, right? You don't want to be in a situationship, right? So you always want to come back to yourself and understand, okay, what is it that I want? What makes me happy? What do I value? And based on those things is what is going to be able for me to find that person, recognize that person, right? If I value reading books, right? You know, I'll probably go to a library and more than likely I will find people that have the same values in a library. Perchancely, not ultimately, but by chance, right? You don't want to just be too fixated that, oh, if I do this, that's automatically guaranteed. No. The thing is that when you take a chance at something, there's a chance. There's a 50-50, right? And that comes with understanding who that person is. And I'm not going to go too much into it because love can be circumstantial because people are circumstantial. We have different experiences and we have different situations and we have different ways that we respond to things. So the number two is how do we keep love, right? If we find someone, right, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a significant other. It can be relationships. It could be family, right? I think we think love is just this one thing of being with a significant other, our partner, right? But the way that you treat people all around you is also determining on how you would treat that person that you're with in a relationship. So when you understand the foundation of yourself and recognize love, how do we keep it is when we have that constant communication with this person, right? Whoever that person may be, right? I realized for myself that is the understanding of who they are. And who they are is that person that will compliment me, not someone that will complete me. I dislike the fact that many of us say that, oh, I want to find someone that completes me. No, I don't want to find someone that completes me, but someone that compliments me well. Someone that reminds me of who I am. Someone that is pushing me and elevating me so that I can be better of a person than I would have ever imagined if it wasn't for this person, right? Sometimes, and that's the beauty about love, right? The beauty about love is understanding the fact that 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 you just don't know, right? But what you do know is love is this feeling. Love is this journey of learning, right? This journey of learning how to adapt, right? Because someone that is in your life, you start adapting to their mannerisms, you start adapting to how they respond to things, and this all goes back again to the fact of who that person is. And how you find this person is more than likely through your proximity, where you go, right? The things you value. And you got to understand that when you find that person, you're going off of the foundation of how well you know yourself, because it can last for a couple months, and then after a while you might think about what is it that is next, right? What's the next step? And really what it is that when you're in a relationship, you want to understand that you don't want to think about always doing something with them, right? You kind of want to almost think that you're doing your own life, they're doing their own life, and you're just sharing that together, right? With respect, right? Because I think some people can get a misconception with things. And I think it's really about when you are going into a relationship, is being intentional with everything you do after that. And even before that, everything we do should be intentional. And when we can do things based off intention, then it's almost hard to get into a position where we don't know, right? When you allow yourself to ask questions, when you allow yourself to talk to the other person, ask questions, that's when you get to know them. And as much as they get to know you. And what happens is that when we're in relationship, we compare about how our last relationship was, or things that we see on TV. And what happens is that so much comparing leads to feeling like our relationship is not enough, right? And I'm speaking in first person because I want you guys to understand that there's a point where I've been in a position where I didn't really know much, that I need to reevaluate, that I had to understand myself to a point where I know that if I know myself enough, I don't have to worry about whoever's in front of me to dictate of who I am. Because that's the biggest thing. We go into relationships longing for the fact that we want to be with this person, but out of what cost, right? Why do we want to get in a relationship? Do you want to get in a relationship because you want to share the experiences that you're already having with this person? Or are you getting into a relationship because you're lonely? Because you need attention, because you need validation. Because if you're going into that relationship or you're sharing this space with someone because of that, because of validation, then you're doing the wrong thing, my friend. That's the worst intention you can do. Because after a while, when you feel like you've been validated enough, then you feel like then you won't ever need them again. Because you got them for what you needed it for, right? And then now you can't appreciate them because you was only appreciating the gesture of what they were giving you, not of who they are. The whole point of being in a relationship is so that you can understand of who they are and appreciate them and experience them. To see them grow, to see them wanting to do better in their lives, and just sit back and just be like, wow, that's a relationship, right? And there's so much more to that, right? But that is like the foundational piece of keeping love. Understanding, right? I've been saying that a lot. If you guys haven't noticed, I've been saying understanding a lot. That's the key word of this episode. Understanding, right? Because that's what relationships about. Relationships is not a candy shop, it's a classroom. And that's something that Jay Shetty have said. And it's true, right? We want to always be learning from this person and understanding this person and so on, right? Now, for whoever may need to hear this, the third part is how do we let go of love, right? Even if you're in a relationship now, and that one might be healthy, and you're still trying to let certain things go, right? Because love kind of comes out of nowhere, right? You might say, "Oh, I'm gonna do it when I'm ready," and then you come across someone, and then you be like, "Oh, shoot, well, this person is great, and I'm pretty sure you're not gonna want to hold off too long, knowing that this person in front of you might just be all the things that you've wished for, right?" So it's about the way that you respond to things and understanding that if you're going to let go of love, you need to think about why you're letting it go, right? If it's hurting you, you got to think for yourself about how much more validation do I need to know that I need to let this go, right? We always could think about, oh, well, I wish I would have done this better. I wish I would have learned more or known more. But the beauty about love is that when we take a chance at love, we also take a chance at pain. And knowing that through that pain, that's where you learn. We get so conflicted that we've been in all these relationships that hurt us. And we want to point out and say that everybody's the same. But no, not everybody's the same. The actions that you did were the same. The things that you did for yourself were the same. And it led you to the same outcome. If you do the same actions, you do the same outcome. You get the same outcome. So now you have to come back to the first piece, right? How do we find love? And like I said, you find it within yourself. And knowing that it's okay that you're going through pain. That's perfectly okay, right? I've been through a lot of pain. You know, when I came out of a long-term relationship of 6 years, I had to sit back and think about all the things that I did wrong. What did I do that took part into this pain that I'm feeling, right? Because a little bit of that pain is probably missing that person. That other pain is all what you wish you would have done. And then that other pain is what they've done. And what happens if we get so conflicted by pointing fingers and be like, oh, they did this, they did that, rather than revisiting yourself and be like, what could I have done better? Maybe I could have responded better. Maybe I could have took this action to lead me in this position so I could have been overall mentally better, right? But now we're in this position where we're in pain, we don't know what to do, and we don't even want to go into a relationship at most cases. And that's okay. The fact that you do know that you're not ready to go into another relationship because you're trying to let things go is a beautiful thing, because you know, because you understand. And man, I feel like I can really go more in depth about everything. And I think that these 3 topics of how to find it, how to keep it, and let it go, each topic is a whole conversation within itself. I wanted to be able to give you guys just some insight about the things that I believe in, the things that I have faith in, because I love love. And I realize that as much as I love myself, I'm able to love someone else. And that's like the biggest thing. And it's as simple as it is. Love isn't complicated. It's just that we are so complicated with how we think it should be. That's what makes it complicated. It's about the way that we think about it. The mindset that we have for ourselves is what will then allow us to love someone and allow us to love ourselves. So I hope you guys got something from this episode. I would definitely say get this book, 8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. There's a whole bunch of other books that you can get. Another book that I have in mind is Clarity and Connection. It's a short read. It's a good book, and it talks a little bit about letting go and just your self-awareness and just appreciating, right? Love is an experience, and we shouldn't put it on a pedestal to a point where we can't let it go because of how far we've came. If someone hurts you, let it go. If someone appreciates you, appreciate them back, and just bask in that experience, because things come and go. And although that might sound bittersweet, that's just what it is. And what it is. I hope you guys had a great love month. Just know that you're loved. Just know that you're enough and that you're capable of everything and anything that you are. Man, I just love all the support that I've been getting from you guys, through you guys saying hi, through you guys playing the card game. And if you guys haven't got the communication card game, enough said, you can do so with the link in the bio. And follow me on Instagram at The Rally Cries, and any podcast platform that you listen on, make sure that you follow so that you can also be on to the next episode that I'll post for you guys. So until next time, you guys be easy. Peace.